I would like to talk about the anger of God. Say it nicely. I would like to talk about the anger of God. I am God this way. Capital G, lowercase o, lowercase d. And then you could say the omnipresence of God in the world. That would be capital G, capital O, capital D to U. Yes. That means that's the leverage that you have to see the world around you. So, what about the anger of God? Well, I am the most angry of all of God. That's me. And I'm only this big. What you see is what you get. What's wrong with it is I died the wrong way. That means it's not really true that what you see is what you get with your own self who died the wrong way. If I did, and then you died the wrong way individually because you didn't die out of your genitals without myself. That means you died the wrong way in two places, and you think that you only maybe have your own unclean death. And unclean is really an understatement if you lived longer than 1 year. You're not doing alive, illegally alive, more than 1 year. Even a dog is illegal because it lives maybe more than 10 years. That's illegal for a dog to be alive that long. It doesn't know how to be a dog and die in a year. I had a dog that lived for, I don't know, it wasn't full height yet when we got the dog. I want to say it lived from 1987 until 2001, about the end of 2000. So it was that old. What do I say about my anger? Well, I'm a long way away. I'm a long distance away from being angry in capital G, capital O, capital D. I'm not there. I'm here in this God form. But I say things that are angry on the internet. I say things on videos that I didn't post on the internet myself. And then I say things just angry to myself, like when I'm alone with myself and I can hear God talking in my mind. Something woke me up this morning in the dark still, and it was talking about Kim Jong Un um, being what's an emperor, a leader of Korea, North Korea, and how he's got the rockets launching, and President Trump would tell Kim Jong Un in a civil sitting down with them for meetings that President Trump was telling Kim Jong Un not to be a warlord of sorts, meaning not to launch the rockets. What you need to see on the news is what the rocket looks like. You can see the rocket of Korea, what they look like, and then you can see the rocket that is on the American news about Americans on rockets. So that would be Elon Musk, and that would be William Shatner and Jeff Bezos. And those are different looking rockets. They show you on the news exactly what they're talking about. And that's me who's putting that on television. But why is it on television? And why isn't it moving around myself that I don't have a roommate anymore? Charles Toh is still here with the rockets being shot off into space. And it makes me feel like I'm not myself here, and that I am illegally alive. And I know that it's illegal that Charles Toh is here. And I'm not, I am willing to be elsewheres with the landlording offices of Fremont Gardens Apartments. But I'm not really getting the landlording office to pay out keys to myself because they embezzled money. It's true that they have to go to jail if they do that because they can't come back and take the keys back. I can't get the landlording of Fremont Gardens Apartments offices to pay out a key to an apartment in Fremont Gardens Apartments complex, the apartment to myself for myself to live alone, so I can move the leverage of myself deceased, and that the landlording office would discontinue its embezzlement, and that they would report their embezzlement to the police, and that they would get arrested and be put in jail and see a judge. I can't get the landlords to do that. They want me to go to jail instead of them so that I don't ask them for anything anymore. They think that I'm asking them for something, but I have leverage to speak, and it's being dismissed as curiosity. I make an ask in the landlording, and they think that I'm curious or I have curiosity that I don't pay for, like now. And that's what's wrong with now. I don't have now moments with the landlords. They don't have now correctly with myself. The reason I'm still illegally alive is because you don't know who I am. You don't. You do crime on my body. You might know that I'm the Becky, which is none higher than me deceased. You can say that you know I'm none higher than me deceased, but I am in order, and that means I don't know you. You can know who I am, but I don't know you. I can't because I have a head. My head doesn't know you. It can't. It's a head just like yours. But I'm in order. And you don't know the difference between my head and yours that way. And you're not supposed to. You don't know each other. You don't know your head apart from somebody else's head, and all your heads are all very different looking. And you want to know me as none higher than me deceased. You really don't. When you take my keys because I'm me, you know who I am this way. I lost 80 keys over 45 years to houses, and I lost 8,000 keys in apartment complexes over 25 years. That's how you know who I am, that you stole my keys that hard. You stole 8,080 keys from myself, and you know who I am that way. What's wrong? You don't know who I am as none higher than me deceased. You don't actually know what I am. You know who I am, you know where I am, but you don't know what I am. Nobody holds alive for 45 years, and you don't suspect that you might be doing something wrong to yourselves and stop. You don't withdraw your objections to myself. You do selfless things with your bodies because you don't have a self, because you're not me. And you don't stop. Why not? Why aren't you homeless outside? You do crime lording with your genitals that are against your genitals. You abominate heaven. You have genitals and you do things that would be done in heaven. And heaven would give a death. And that means when you have genitals and you do something that heaven would do, you are against your genitals, with heaven is creating your genitals. And that means you don't have the creation of your genitals deceased. All the loss of keys I just described, 8,080 keys. I'm trying to count in the motion of alive. Bear with me because you count food money a lot and you have coins in the food money you don't have counted to yourselves. You would leave your, let's say you have a penny jar, leave a penny for the next customer. If the customer is short a penny, they'll take it. You do that and you don't have karma that way. You don't have all your coins correctly counted, including if they're on bank statements or in credit card statements, or if you don't get any statements and you don't know how much money you spent. You don't know how much money you didn't spend. You don't know what you lost. You don't know all the counting and all the prices. Do you look at all the prices and you walk by the prices? You don't have it paid for to look at the prices. You don't have it paid for to look at the price of coins, like decimal points. Let's say whole dollar numbers and then decimal points. You don't afford to look at the decimal points. You can't be inside the stores. You can't look at the prices because you can't afford to look at the decimal point. And then there's 2 digits after that, such as decimal point 10, that would be 10 cents. You don't afford to look at that. You don't have that paid for. It's 99 over 100. Okay, so it could be 00 all the way up to 99 for those decimal points, and they're all coins. It could be 99 pennies. It could be 9 dimes and 9 pennies. You don't have that paid for, ever. You can't look at it even if you don't have the money and make a transaction. You can't afford to look at it because it's priced. That's God having charged you right in your eyes for looking at the price. You're not allowed to be there. I'm going to give you a little leverage. Donna Yampol Moser, Donna Y. period Moser. She's a signature on too much karma having to do with prices being visible to you. She's illegal. I call her mom because there are moms elsewhere in previous worlds that don't have it paid for that she was ever formed. Music. I'm hearing this song by Kat Janice in my mind. Dance You Out of My Head is the name of the song. Outa, like Outta, outa, instead of out of. Dance You Out of My Head. I hear the interruption of me speaking or hearing God speaking, and he'll go right into the music in my mind. And I heard it elsewhere. I didn't hear it directly from God. I heard it such as on the internet or on TV. Sometimes I hear it and I look it up on the internet so I can hear the whole song and read the words, if there are lyric videos that you can read the words. He doesn't have that paid for as God. That's not free. I'm angry. I'm going to annihilate this whole world when I come to myself being capital G, capital O, capital D. You won't see me in this body then, but I'm angry in this body about little things. I'm very clean. I want every little thing to come back to me as God, and after that I can ascend and be complete God up in heaven and above that. You did something to waste my time, and I'm not going to waste any of the little things of my mind or my life. What about all the money? What about you looking at all the prices? Will I ever get that back? I won't get that back. But that is God having to make threats in heaven. That I know who you are and that you don't have certain threats paid for. That means I don't have to go back into the recording of Alive and find it specifically unless I remember it because you hurt me. Yeah. If I remember you personally, if I remember that you hurt me, I can find you again. But I wouldn't say that about all of the 45 years of my alive of this body, including my leverage being God, capital G, capital O, capital D, like the omnipresence of God, creation of this world. that is elsewhere's. His leverage is so high in the money counting, the passing of time, the meters, everything having to do with yes and no permissions that he would give. And then some of you go against that, and then you deny or give permissions over and above and beyond your genitals, and that you're not in heaven. And heaven is giving certain directions of what it can do in my life. Where you decline that as though it's for profit and you've been caught. I'm reporting that you stole exorbitant amounts of money and keys from myself. And then what about everybody to everybody else? Did you make a mess? Yes, you did make a mess. Yeah. So what about God's anger being diluted? The dilution of God's anger is that there are so many people who are mixing with one another and offending each other in unlimited offending. You never went outside and solved your genitals being outside of the keys, that you don't consume the keys, that you pay out the keys, and that you don't chew up a key, which means that you were gluttoning. Where you're all the worst case scenario. Everybody's gluttoning. And you're not a soul. When I am the soul, but you only know that in certain ways, and you don't know it in other ways. I am myself. I had a dream that woke me up yesterday. The dream just before I woke up was about identifying my leverage, that I am myself. And I am in my full awareness of my leverage, but I'm not moving it. I still live with the same sex offender from when I was 24 years old, and he won't leave. And I don't have a problem that I need that anymore. I'm in my full leverage from waking up yesterday from the dream, and I'm the dreamer, and I'm ready to go on with my life, and he won't leave. And I have other ways that I don't need to be this far along in the leverage. I could have elsewhere been alone for other reasons, in all the various ways, in every level of my consciousness of my lifetime, since I've been paying for a home invasion through the front door. When I had my own one-bedroom apartment was the order so I could give myself a death. That would have been the year 2000, 2001, and he breached my front doorway in the year 2001, November 17th. And I don't know why, because I had a death order. That means I don't need that he hurt me, because I don't need him for a death for myself. So, Korea. An Asian body set inside of a rocket that doesn't have vital signs. But it's Asian. It doesn't have vital signs. If you're Asian, you don't have vital signs. What if you're Asian and you eat food? Do you have vital signs? The body's not moving, but it's still there. Kim Jong-il is looking after something on TV about Asians being set into a rocket that's small, it's thin, it's a slim rocket, and it's launched off. That's a human body being set in there that's Asian. So it's not human that way. It's Asian body set in a rocket and launched off out of North Korea. What are you going to do? It's on the news. There's nothing you can do about it. I'm telling you what I saw on TV and what I think about it, what I woke up to think about it this morning. I didn't do it. Nope. What do you want to do? Well, it's me being capital G, lowercase o, lowercase d, God. I'm God in this body. But you won't do anything about putting Charles Toh out of this apartment. You don't even mind that I live in this place. No, you don't treat your God nicely at all. Do you have a God inside yourself that you're babysitting? Yeah, I try, and I'm not going to babysit one of your problems for you either. That's you being a problem with the God inside yourself that you're babysitting. And then the God omnipresent is working to get himself out from under your leverage. That means if you have incested yourself with the peace of God, he's going to cut off his leverage because I've been alive for 45 years needs a death. That's all he's doing is cutting off your leverage so that you don't do that to him because you won't just go outside and wait for God to give you a death. You don't know how to be homeless on all the points. You don't know how to recognize God in all of his definition, and that you would yourself die in the leverage that it takes for you to be formed for what you see when you look in the mirror. Your reflection. You're supposed to know how to death yourself. You're all trying to be a soul. You want an easy life. You want to get rich. You want to eat food. But you don't have deceased. You didn't get alive. I eat food because I create the stock. What's your excuse? I don't want to eat in front of you, but I create the stock. What is your excuse? You eat the stock and you're not supposed to because you don't create the stock. The stock is there because of the 16 previous worlds that died before I got here. You're gluttoning worlds deceased. I don't know if you agree with yourselves. God's anger is elsewhere's. I think it will be a long time before. Time is the word I'm using, but it'll be a long wait for myself to be back in eternity because you have a long, lengthy karma ahead of myself that I didn't make, and I don't need it. And you didn't ever really let me have what I needed for myself so that I wouldn't be away from eternity for so long.